welcome to the Galactic Mind Weather Report. So today is a very special day, being that we're opening up the Yellow Seed Wavespell. So the Yellow Seed Wavespell is a 13-day cycle that's all about really working on understanding how the way we target our awareness affects our reality, and really refining our capacity to be conscious and aware of where we're putting our awareness. So during this 13 days, we have something called the Galactic Activation Portal Days. So this is 10 activation days where the energies are really strong, moving through our collective to help facilitate this process. This only happens twice, and the other time is in the Red Serpent Wavespell, where we're working on our survival. Now this time, these 10 galactic portal days, these energies that are coming in, are supporting us to be able to really harness this ability for our collective right now amongst all this chaos. You know, we've just finished the 13 days of the Blue Monkey, which was full of mischief and madness in letting go of our grip on thinking we understand reality, to just surrendering into, I don't know anything. Because from this place, after the Blue Monkey wave, we're now in the perfect spot to plant the seeds for the next steps of our conscious evolution of our collective world and our personal worlds. So during these 13 days of the Yellow Seed Wavespell, beginning today, you're going to find life really drawing in experiences to sharpen your awareness, to wake you up and really take charge of whether you're focusing on the challenges and the manure around the seed, if you're focusing on, you know, the hardships and falling victim to these ideas, you know, and because it is a choice, and it's a choice that only you can make. And the other choice is to, within all these challenges, and I'm not saying that just to smile and be, you know, positive when the world is falling down around you. You know, be emotional, feel the feelings, be present in life and live it. But while you're living those moments, while the world is collapsing, while you're feeling the pain, you actually have a choice of whether you want to turn that focus outward at all the people that you want to blame for it. You can focus on all the outward external challenges as to why you aren't able to change your life. Or you can choose to target your awareness inwards, to recalibrate the way you perceive these challenges and what's happening around you. And instead of looking at why you can't succeed in life, why you can't get out of this rut, look inwards and find out, what is these events outside of you reflecting? What is it showing? Where is it showing a lack of self-belief? Or where is it showing, you know, where you might be holding on to shame, you know, where you might be holding on to guilt, or feeling a responsibility for so much more than is actually yours to carry. There's so many things that internally can happen that sabotage our ability to really step out and fully live and make these changes in our lives. And you know, this brings up for me a good friend of mine, Willow Francis, at one of the cacao ceremonies that they hold here in Fremantle in Western Australia. He was saying and sharing this really beautiful thing about self-compassion that he and his partner Catherine were talking about as a bit of a theme for the cacao ceremony. And he was talking about self-compassion and the ways that can swing. You know, when we fall into self-pity, you know, so self-compassion, when it goes out of balance, it can be self-pity. So this poor me, I've got it harder than everyone else. And I've played that role in my life. You know, I'm a single father, and it's very easy for me, you know, to say, oh yeah, but it's hard. You know, if only this wasn't the case, I could get out there and really make a difference. But that's self-pity. It's not true. Everyone's got their challenges. Everyone has their own equal challenges. They may seem, you know, bigger or smaller in the external world, 3D world, but inside our minds, for each person, no matter how big or small the challenge is, in here, it still feels the same. And then you have the other side, where I spend most of my time when I'm in my shadow side of self-compassion, and that's self-indulgence. Now, self-indulgence, you know, for me that manifests in a way where it's like, you know, oh, it's been such an intense ride. I've been doing so much work, and I've been trying to help everybody, and I've been trying to make the changes, and and all this stuff, the Messiah complex comes out. Oh, I'm trying to change the world and fix everything, and so then I sit there and justify, oh, you know what, I'm just gonna smoke a joint tonight and just it's my medicine, it's my medicine, and then next thing I'm eating candy and I'm treating my body like crap, and then I'm sleeping in late and leaving my boy on the TV playing games instead of spending time with him because it's been a hard run, and I deserve to have that break, and it's okay to do that because I need this relief. And that's self-indulgence. That's not true. And I've really called myself out on that. When Willow brought this up in the cacao ceremony, I went deep into that through the ceremony and the process. And I discovered all the places where I'm dropping into self-pity or self-indulgence, and how I am enabling the victim state in myself. It's not anyone else's fault. It's mine. Where I target my awareness is my responsibility, because only I have the ability to target my awareness. Therefore, it can only be my responsibility. So through this yellow seed Wavespell, really bring awareness to, and don't judge yourself for it. I don't judge myself for those moments. I do at times, but right now I sit there and go, yeah, of course I was self-indulgent, and yeah, of course I was playing the self-pity card, and we all do it. We don't need to judge ourselves for it. But simply be aware when these things happen, when the challenges happen, and look at yourself and think, are you being self-compassionate? Which is, really loving and making space and saying no to the world when you need your space and looking after yourself. Self-compassion is creating routine and ritual in your life. It's about, taking time to meditate, taking time to eat well, drink lots of water, and nurture this physical body that we are blessed with. That's self-compassion. And self-compassion, I've discovered, takes self-discipline. That was never my strength, but I'm working on it now. And I've got to say, I'm making leaps and bounds in really harnessing my own self-discipline. And I really want to encourage to bring that awareness that we need to bring in the spiritual warrior now. To bring that self-discipline, to no longer blame the outside world and fall into that victim cycle of it's poor me, or I deserve, I'm going to take all this, and simply watch when you fall into those places of self-pity or self-indulgence, and just watch it and take note. Maybe journal it, or just without judgment, and then take note of when you're actually looking after yourself, and think about how can you really care for yourself during these 13 days of the yellow seed Wavespell. And because when you begin to take care of yourself and step into this place of self-compassion, when you begin to have self-discipline and ritual, take time to meditate, which is simply being still. Even if you're busy doing the dishes, you can still be still inside. Allow yourself that space. And then what will begin to happen is that you'll begin to feel a transformation inside. You'll begin to target your awareness inside, following the shadow and the triggers inwards until you go deep into those shadows, those guilts, those shames, and those different experiences that are inside you, trapped potentially from childhood or who knows what. And it's scary sometimes to allow that stillness to bring you there. But if you allow this yellow seed Wavespell to guide you through the next days, inward, not outward, then inward, when you go into those shadow states, those sticky, icky feelings we don't want to see, you might just discover that amongst all of that shitty, itty, sticky blah that's there is a beautiful, potent seed that has been waiting for your attention your whole life. But you have to be able to bring your awareness inside through the shame, through the guilt, through the anger and the fear and these things. And when you can come in there and bring it inwards instead of projecting outwards, when you bring it inwards, you begin to feed your energy, your awareness into that seed. And then that seed begins to get the courage, the strength to break out of its shell and do the most terrifying thing in its life, to venture into the darkness and the void, to become a vulnerable sprout, daring to be what it came here to be. And that's what you're here to be. You're here to be greatness. Not greatness in the sense of the Prime Minister or rich and a millionaire, but to be your specific frequency, your unique genetic coding. You are here to express that into the world like a candle shining its light. And today is really special because it's Kin 144. And what that means is the yellow magnetic seed is the 144th day of the 260-day Mayan Tzolk'in, according to the Dreamspell count. And if you listen to the different things, in the New Age world and the rest, or the religious world, etc., you hear the number 144,000 mentioned a lot. And the number 144 is very sacred, mathematically as well. So 144,000. And people often say it's 144,000 light workers we need to be here in the world and making change. And in one of my meditations today, I had this little epiphany, this little tsh. And I don't claim this to be truth, but I like the romance and story of what came. And to me, it felt like the yellow magnetic seed is coded as Kin 144 because it is this process that 144,000 people around the globe need to enter and master in order to bring the transformation that moves us into this new age together. And it's 144,000 people that need to understand the philosophical concepts of spirituality or the scientific concepts of quantum physics, but it's 144,000 people around the planet, and that's not many, that simply need to retarget their awareness inwards and begin the gritty process of transmutation within their own genome, within their own genetics. And as each of us begin to transmute our shadow frequencies of our DNA and begin to lift that frequency up, we become like beacons in this world, shining our light, this frequency that resonates like tuning forks, so that all the people around us begin to naturally gravitate to that frequency. Their frequency becomes supported. It makes it easier for them to begin to rise. And it's the time now. And it's very easy to fall into self-pity and say, oh, why do I have to do all the hard work? What about the rest of my family or my partner or my workmates? How come they don't have to do this work? Well, their time is coming. Their time is happening now. And if you're watching this, you were one of the early ones that came on board. Your process is starting to come to a stabilization over these next moons and years, so that you can now be the tuning fork for them. Because there is no separation. There is only me, I, you. We're all one in that sense. So really honor yourself with self-compassion during this 13 days. And develop the self-discipline to create habits that nurture your soul, that nurture your body, your mind. And do what it takes to go in and find your seed. What is your potential that's there? And feed it your light. Give it the courage to stand up and be authentically you. And I'll put a couple of links below this video of some resources that I highly recommend. One is a book by Brene, which is all about, the cultural feeling and need for fitting in, and the need for also being on your own, being comfortable with being so uniquely you that it's okay if you don't. It deals with shame, it deals with guilt. Brene Brown has such a magic for exploring these things. So I highly recommend downloading the audio book or getting the book, ebook, whatever you do, and reading that during this 13 days. It'll be such a powerful tool to help you if you haven't done it already. And the other tool that I highly recommend is the Gene Keys Golden Path online program. So I have my affiliate link under here as well. And I highly recommend jumping on that because it takes you through step by step a process of cultivating self-awareness, and it gives you a unique personal profile taken from your date of birth and time of birth that allows you to more gracefully embrace the shadows within you that you've been born into with this genetic code, and it will give you the keys and the tools to cultivate the ability to target your awareness into finding the gift that is inside those shadows. It has changed my life over the last 5 years in ways I can't even begin to explain. So they're my 2 tools of choice during this 13 days of the Yellow Seed Wavespell. And I hope they support you if you choose to use them. Now, I'd love to hear about that or any experience you've had with that below in this video too. So thank you again for tuning in to this Galactic Mind Weather Report. And I'll see you mid-Wavespell. In Lakesh, and so much love.